Jai Hind friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. It's a path breaker for India because this is a free trade agreement that India has signed with a group of 4 European countries, all of them. These 2 countries, Ukraine and Finland, joined the NATO, which means you will have NATO tanks, NATO artillery, NATO guns right there at Russia's throat. And Russia will never permit that. Jai Hind friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. The European Free Trade Association has signed a $100 billion investment deal with India. And what does this deal entail? Basically, a group of 4 countries who have said that they will invest $100 billion over a period of 15 years in India. And this will be in a lot of categories. I'm going to tell you the details of this deal. It's a path breaker for India because this is a free trade agreement that India has signed with a group of 4 European countries, all of them first world, all of them very wealthy, all of them having sufficient funds to park in India into various schemes. I'll discuss more of that later. Now, to tell you the specifics, ladies and gentlemen, India and the European Free Trade Association on Sunday, that is yesterday, signed a landmark deal, Trade and Economic Partnership Agreement to open up the EFTA markets for Indian businesses and the Indian markets for the EFTA. So it's a two-way thing. And they say that the EFTA countries, we'll tell you which these countries are in due course of time. The EFTA countries have committed to invest $100 billion in India. As I mentioned before, $100 billion will be invested in India over a period of 15 years. This is fantastic. The EFTA comprises Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Switzerland. So these are 4 countries, I repeat, Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Switzerland. These 4 countries, and these 4 countries have said that we are signing this deal, we are keen to invest into India. Now, the Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Modi, has in a written statement said that this is a watershed moment, for India and the EFTA countries, and the historic first free trade agreement inked with a binding commitment to invest $100 billion. This is what it is. It's in written. It is binding. Now, they have agreed and they will have to invest $100 billion in India. Where are they going to invest this money, ladies and gentlemen? Now, before I tell you that, let me tell you the past. What has been happening so far. India has exported, and these are export and import data. I'm trying to bring out the trade imbalance, actually. To tell you the truth, the trade imbalance between these 2 blocks. So, in the financial year 2022-2023, in 1 year, India exported $1.9 billion worth of goods to EFTA. 1.9, close to $2 billion worth of goods to EFTA. But India imported $16.7 billion worth of goods from EFTA. So, there is a trade deficit at roughly $14.8 billion for the financial year 22-23. Now, this is massive. And most of it is from one country, that is Switzerland, India's largest trading partner. Within EFTA, Switzerland, India's export to the country stood at $1.3 billion, while imports stood at $15.7. This is in the same year, 2022-23. So, $15.7 billion we imported from Switzerland. I don't know what we are importing from Switzerland. Apart from chocolates, I don't know, chocolates and cheese. Unless Indians are eating $15 billion worth of cheese. I'm sorry, I don't know. Maybe Swiss watches, maybe luxury items. What else? I don't know what Switzerland is famous for or known for. Swiss army knives, Swiss military gear. What else could Indians be buying? Write in the comments column. I'd love to hear from you. And, there are 14 chapters in this entire agreement, and this include government procurement. So, I think this is going to be a big one. This is going to be the big one, government procurement. Government to government, EFTA and the Indian governments, they signed a pact and they say government to government, we will trade. That's going to be a big one. Investment promotion and cooperation, trade in services, trade remedies, sanitary conditions, trade in goods and protection of intellectual property. So these are the things that they're going to look into. And Helene Budliger Artida, she is the State Secretary for Economic Affairs And she said that India will be the world's premier manufacturing and service hub. I'll come to a little more of that later. Now, this calls for a slightly detailed explainer. I'm just reading off the research right now, but I'll be back in a minute to explain after I tell you all of this. And she said that it's a massive moment of joy for us. We've been negotiating this agreement for more than 16 years now. And today is a day for the history books. Norway's trade minister, his name is Jan Christian Vestre. He says today is a day for the history books because what we have created today is tremendous. Now, this is for data and the comments, etc. Now you've heard. Now, what exactly is happening in India? Why are people coming and investing in India? Ladies and gentlemen, the top 5 economies of the world, India is at number 5. They're not doing very well, apart from India. So you look at the United States of America, not doing very well. China, not doing very well. Japan, the economy is contracting, it's under recession. Japan, economy is contracting, they are under recession. Where does a person, actually invest? Now, here's the thing. India has, I think, the second or the third largest bunch of innovators, right? Best of the best startups in the world. Also, I'm talking about 100 unicorns last year. I'm talking about that is $100 billion. If you take one unicorn to be $1 billion, these are more than 100 unicorns last year. So this is why people want to invest also. A lot of Pakistanis, I'll have to come back to Pakistan on this one. I think I'll be able to explain more easily. A lot of Pakistanis seem to think that the reason why people invest in India is because of political stability. And they seem to think that if they also have political stability, people will start investing in Pakistan. They also say that people invest in India because investments in India are safe. And people don't invest in Pakistan because investments in Pakistan are not safe. While that may be true, that is not the only reason, and I will explain why. Friends, investment has one goal. Return on investment. It's called ROI. And any businessman, anybody who studied commerce or economics or has done his MBA would know the simple fact. You need return on investment. If you invest $1, you need 2 or you need 10. Depends upon what your targets are. Right? The problem with Pakistan here is, and I'm saying Pakistan because a lot of Pakistanis have commented on this agreement and they've been commenting on whenever India gets a large investments, there are Pakistanis commenting that, hey, and these are all positive comments. They're just trying to figure out what is wrong with their country. And what they often end up saying is that, wish we were also politically stable. Wish we also had political stability where people would feel safe in parking their funds. That part is not untrue. So I would not say that the Pakistanis are saying anything wrong, but here is a catch. As I said, ROI. You see, people are willing to invest. There are people who invest and who are big risk takers. And people invest in Central African countries also, where there has been civil war going on for decades. North African countries that are not very politically stable. People have been investing in West Africa, East Africa, all these countries. There are so many countries. I think 55 countries in the African Union. And people have been investing in these countries and getting returns, because they have an appetite for risk-taking. It all depends what you wish to do. Oil, diamonds, minerals. Most of these places that have oil, apart from the Arab countries, okay? You can leave the Arab countries out of this, but most of the countries are notoriously unstable. They have regimes which are not very transparent. Right? For example, Venezuela, for example, Iran. There are so many other countries apart from non-Arab countries which have oil, you don't know what's happening there. Yet, people want to get around sanctions and invest. People want to do that because they feel they can make money. The problem with investment in Pakistan is that it does not matter. See, Pakistan has had periods of economic stability. Like, for example, under Pervez Musharraf, he was the boss of Pakistan for 10 years. Was Pakistan stable? Sure. Pakistan was stable under Ziaul Haq. Pakistan was stable under Yahya Khan or under Ayub Khan, all these military dictators. They ruled for 10 years each, if I'm not mistaken. At least Pervez Musharraf ruled for more than 10 years and Ziaul Haq ruled for more than 10 years. That was political stability. You might not have had elections, you might not have had democracy, but you had stability of the political kind. There was one ruler, there was no change in government, and all the power, it was all single window. It came from one individual, and the country did whatever that person wanted the country to do. Did Pakistan's economy improve? No, Pakistan's economy has been traditionally dependent upon loans and grants. I think Pakistanis need to understand. They often end up saying that, why are Muslim countries investing in India? They should invest in us because we are Muslims and they are. It does not work like that. I would like Pakistanis to go to a Pakistani Muslim shopkeeper. You're a Muslim, he's a Muslim. Go to a shopkeeper and say, give me this at 50% discount because you're a Muslim and I'm a Muslim. Say that, give me this at a discount or free of cost because you're a Muslim and I'm a Muslim. Will it work that way? No. You will not be able to do it in your own streets, in your own neighborhood. Why do you expect nations to behave like that? It does not happen like everybody is looking at ROI. ROI, ladies and gentlemen, is the mantra, which I want our Pakistani friends to understand. This entire deal, this, European Free Trade Association, EFTA deal, what is it all about? It's all about ROI. It's all about willingness to believe in the India story and saying that we'll invest 100 billion and we'll get back 200 billion. This is beyond just political stability. This is about reputation. This is about track record. This is about belief in the Indian way of doing business. This is what this $100 billion is about. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll come to the question and answers. The first question is from Ragib Sen. Major, tell me something. It was Russia who helped and rescued Europe from Hitler. US had contribution as well. Now, why US thinks savior Russia is a threat? Are they brainwashed? No, they are not brainwashed. I think you've forgotten, Ragib, about something called the Cold War. Now, if you say Russia saved Europe, yes and no, right? But yes, Russia was one big factor in the defeat of Nazism. There is no doubt about that. They chased the Russia, first Hitler's armies came all the way to Russia, and then the Russians chased them back and they entered Berlin, and Hitler committed suicide, in his bunker. That's all part of history. We all know what happened. Here's the thing. It's not about being brainwashed. There was a Cold War after 1945 in which on a couple of occasions, or more than a couple of occasions, it almost ended up in nuclear war, and somebody was sensible enough to say that, okay, hang on. Let's wait for a second. Maybe the other guy is not as aggressive as I think he's going to be. Maybe he's not going to launch his missiles. It almost came to that so many times. So there has been a history of power struggle between the West and Russia, or between the Soviet bloc countries and the Western countries. There has been that for a very long time, and this is how the enmity grew. And this is one of the reasons why, the old fogies who are there in Pentagon and also in Europe, in the power circles or decision-making circles, this is one of the reasons why they keep on supplying weapons to Ukraine. Because their mindset is anti-Soviet. They don't realize that the Soviet Union has fallen. The Soviet Union no longer exists. What exists is Russia. And they're just pushing Russia because of a mindset of the Cold War. This is what I believe. Second question is from Larry Shirk. Europe closing ranks against Russia or just slowly being dismembered? I don't think Europe is being dismembered. I think Europe needs to get its act together. There is no way Ukraine is going to win. There is no way. See, Russia has made its intentions clear. Russia has said, I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. If people die, people die. My own or the Ukrainians, I don't care. Russia is throwing more and more people into combat. Can Europe do that? Can America do that? Can you actually have NATO at the doorsteps of Russia? Will you do that? Unless you're willing to do that, unless you're actually willing to put your own men in harm's way, there is no way you're going to stop Russia. Tomorrow, if Russia decides to take over Finland, what are you going to do? If tomorrow Russia decides to gobble up Ukraine, Russia has already taken over 25% of Ukraine. What has the world done? Except for supplying weapons to Zelensky and giving him money, which his team is pilfering, and Zelensky is also pilfering. There is a CIA document regarding that. The CIA said that this guy is taking money. We give him money to fight the Russians and he's stealing that money. So it's happening. It's all happening there. Unless you are willing to confront Russia militarily, Russia will pretty much do what it wants to do in its own interest. Chile Chile says Russia doesn't have a problem with Sweden and Finland joining NATO, but Russia has a big problem with Ukraine joining NATO. Why and how? Because Sweden and Finland, so the thing is that Sweden does not have a border with Russia, but Finland does. And Russia has a problem with Finland joining the NATO. And Russia has a problem with Ukraine joining the NATO, because once you say that these two countries, Ukraine and Finland, join the NATO, which means you will have NATO tanks, NATO artillery, NATO guns, right there at Russia's throat. And Russia will never permit that. Sweden's joined NATO, Russia doesn't care. Russia does not care as long as there is a land buffer, and the land buffer for Russia is Finland. So Finland today provides the buffer between Russia and Sweden. Look at Sweden not as a country, but look at Sweden as NATO. Because, Article 5 of NATO's constitution says that if one member country is attacked, then everybody is attacked. So you attack Sweden, Russia attacks Sweden. Suddenly, everybody will wake up and say that, okay, now we need to put boots on the ground against Russia. This is what the true story is, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.